Last lesson of Chapter 5, 8.5, or Chapter 8, 8.5, page 603. And it's called Operations with Time and Mixed Units. So what we're going to do in this one is we're just going to deal with time. And we're going to do a little bit with some weights here, but most of the time we're going to be dealing with minutes and seconds and hours here. So let's look at example 1. What they're asking us to do is to take 3 hours and 15 minutes, and rather than leaving it 3 hours and 15 minutes, they're asking us to change that to minutes. So we're going to convert this again to minutes. Well, our 15 is already in minutes, so we don't have to worry about that. We're going to leave it as 15 minutes. So what they're asking us to convert is the 3 hours to minutes. And we're going to do it the same way we've done all of our other conversions. 3 hours times line hours on the bottom. Do we know anything about hours and minutes? A conversion. Yes, we know that for every hour there are 60 minutes. And our hours cancel. Draw a line there. 3 times 60 is 180 minutes. So we know that for every 3 hours we have 180 minutes. So we just converted hours to minutes. Now we have to take the 15 minutes that we already had and add it to our 180, and we get 195 minutes. So 3 hours, 15 minutes is the same as 195 minutes. Now if we were to do something else here, and instead of writing that 3 hours, 15 minutes as minutes, we're going to change that 3 hours, 15 minutes to hours. Okay, so we already know how this is 3 hours, so we don't have to convert that. We're just going to convert our minutes. So we're going to do it the same way. 15 minutes, X, line, minutes on the bottom. Do we know anything about minutes and hours? Yes, we know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Cancel our minutes here, and we're left with an hour, and that's what we're looking for. 15 divided by 60 is 1/4, or 0.25. So 15 minutes is 0.25 hours. So we're going to take our 3 hours, we're going to add our 15 minutes, or now our 0.25 hours, and we get 3.25 hours. So 3 hours, 15 minutes is the same as 3.25 hours. The next part of this, part B, is addition and subtraction of mixed units. We're going to stick with our time here. And they're telling us that they want us to add 5 minutes, 37 seconds. And they want to add it to 7 minutes, 45 seconds. Notice how I wrote it as your typical vertical or column addition problem, with my seconds together and my minutes together, and I'm just going to add them individually. I'm going to add my 37 seconds plus 45 seconds separate from my 5 minutes, 5 minutes and 7 minutes. So let's add our 5 and 7, and that gives us 12 minutes. So if something took you 5 minutes, and then to run down the street took you 5 minutes, to run back took you 7, it took 12 total. Now let's add our 37 and our 45, and we get 82 seconds. But the thing about time is, we don't write this as 82 seconds. Just like what we would do is we would convert it to minutes if we could, because 60 minutes or 60 seconds equals 1 minute. Well, this is over 60 seconds, so let's translate this to minutes. This actually ends up being 1 minute, 32 seconds, doesn't it? Because 1 minute is 60 seconds, or I'm sorry, this should be 22, shouldn't it? A little carried away here. 22 seconds. Because 60 seconds and 22 seconds is 82. So we have our 12 minutes here, our 1 minute here, so we can add these two together and get 13 minutes and 22 seconds. We can't change that to anything, so that's where we're at. So 5 minutes 37 seconds plus 7 minutes 45 seconds is going to give me 13 minutes 22 seconds. Next page, let's do a subtraction here. These can be a little confusing, but that's why you do problem sets. Just get used to practicing it a little bit so it doesn't come so hard. In an example 3, what they're asking you to do is subtract 34 minutes from 8 hours 15 minutes. And we're going to line these up correctly, and we're subtracting 34 minutes from that. Well, you can't take 34 from 15. So you have to borrow. And we've done this before in the past, so you've got plenty of practice with it. What are we going to borrow? We're going to borrow an hour from our 8 here. So 8 hours 15 minutes, we're going to change that to 7 hours and so many minutes. So it's still the same length of time, it's just going to look different. So let's rewrite this as 7 hours, and we're going to borrow an hour. But when we borrow an hour, we want it to be in minutes, because we're trying to make this number bigger than this. So if we take that hour away from our 8, an hour in minutes is 60. So this is 60 plus 15 minutes. Okay, so we borrowed an hour, turned it into 60 minutes, and we've got 15. So that means we have 7 hours, 75 minutes. And we're subtracting 34 minutes from it. That works well because 75 is larger than 34. So we end up with 7 hours. And let's subtract 34 from 75, and we get 41 minutes. So when we take 8 hours 15 minutes and take 34 minutes away, we have 7 hours 41 minutes there. So don't forget to borrow there if that top number is larger than the bottom one and you're subtracting. Alright, takes us to part C. Part C, we're doing multiplication with mixed units. Now this example is a little bit tricky. Jake purchases 4 halibut. The cost is $6 per pound, and each fish weighs 3 pounds 12 ounces. What's the cost of the fish? Well, to find the cost of the fish, we need to find out how much all the fish weigh, because they're selling them for $6 a pound. So we've got 3 pounds 12 ounces, and we have 4 of those fish. So we need to multiply 3 pounds 12 ounces by 4. Now look what happens here. We multiply this by 4, and then we're going to multiply this by 4, and we get 12 pounds. So we get 12 pounds 48 ounces when we take our 4 fish that are 3 pounds 12 ounces, multiply them by 4, we get 12 pounds 48 ounces. 48 ounces. If you remember your conversions, you know that 16 ounces is 1 pound. Well, if that's the case, 48 ounces is more than 16, so we know that we have some poundage here rather than just a few ounces. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that 48 ounces and we're going to translate that into pounds. So 48 ounces, conversion line, ounces on bottom. We know that there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. Cancel out our ounces and we get 48 divided by 16, which is 4 pounds. Alright, so 3 pounds 12 ounces times 4 ends up being 4 pounds and 12 pounds, which is 16 pounds of fish. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and turn this off right now, and we'll come back to it in just a minute on the next video.